We are recording.
We are underway. We are back. Life's Great Questions. The podcast is back. At least we're trying this. We went on a COVID vacation, a quarantine, if you will. We tried doing the Zoom for a while, but I had technical limitations on my end, and just wasn't really working out.
Is that an editorial comment on the life?
Yes.
Technical limitations on
technical limitations. As always, my name is James Hood. With me is my partner in crime, partner for life, Sean Cohan.
Hello, peoples.
From his own home.
Mm-hmm.
And I guess if there's a question, we didn't really come up with a question because we decided we were just going to give this a run and see how it comes out. Maybe if it's worthwhile, it'll get posted. If not, you'll never see this.
Yeah.
So I guess the question of 2020 is, what the fuck? That's the question.
It's a question that we can only ask in December, but the thing is, there's still so much time left. There's so much time left in the 2.5 weeks.
Oh, and by the way, we're getting 1.5 feet of snow tonight. So there you go. Thank you for that.
So here we are, back after a break. Previous shows we had our friend Herb with us, and Herb will probably make the occasional appearance here and there, but we're gonna see what happens with just the two former lovers and see how that works out. We're doing it. I'm doing my own production as on the fly. James is actually properly set up for the first time.
Thank you for the computer and the everything else that I've got here. I got a real webcam. I always had the microphone, but just no way to use it. I got the music input area, so we're all set up. Thank you.
So I'm gonna pull back here for a second so you can see a little better what we have going on. James and I were just talking about our respective homes and what we've been doing to them. He has been doing more to his home than I have. I'm in my spare bedroom that has been converted into an office so I can work and play, literally work and play. I have a Christmas tree. I have a mirror. I have a closet. I have a printer. I have a couple of computers, and I have fun magnets to put on my boom arm.
That's nice.
Yeah, that's about the extent of mine. What James has is actually pretty incredible because it is fresh.
It's completely fresh. This is actually the second story landing of our house. Over on this side, on my left, on your right, is the main bedroom. Behind me, you see with the door open, that's one of the small bedrooms. The one with the door closed is one that we haven't gotten to yet. That is actually my music room, and it's more just a place where I pile all the stuff that I'm not currently using. There's a couple amplifiers and a bunch of cords that are questionable whether they're usable or not, so I got to go through that at some point. But it's been fun. I mean, this is what I've been doing for COVID. I haven't been playing much. I've had a few gigs, but mostly I've just been spending time. We've done the whole first floor, which is living room, dining room, and kitchen. And so now we're making our way up to the second floor, and we just decided, okay, we're at a good stopping point. Let's enjoy the holidays and maybe jump back into it after the first. And the reason that we're doing this is partly because we might put the house on the market. If we get an obscene amount offered to us, we might take it. And consider maybe moving down south, but who knows? We
can talk about this.
We may just be enjoying this for a while. Who knows? Either way, it's nice. It's people don't know this, but my wife Teresa was living in this house before we met, and I think she's pretty psyched because this is major changes made since I moved in. So now it's more like our house, as opposed to, me moving into her house.
And now you're finally pulling your weight.
I've learned a lot. I've learned also, we had two of the big 2 foot by 4 foot, the old tube UV lights in the kitchen, where you have to put it in and twist it until the light comes
Oh,
out.
you mean the fluorescence?
Yes,
You
the
had the
fluorescent.
fluorescence. Yeah.
And of course, you know, each one of those has 4 bulbs, and I think only 2 out of the 8 were working. So I figured out how to remove those and put in LED ones.
It's a little. It's very. You have to be very dexterous. You have to have
Yes,
dexterity
it
levels.
was a pain
So
in
it's
the ass.
a twist and a pull, a
At one
push and a
point,
twist.
after wrestling the thing out of the ceiling, I got dumped on by about, who knows how many years of mice shit came
Mice.
down on top of me.
Oh, you're hauntified. You're
Yes.
hauntified.
Yeah, try not to think about it too much. I've
We
learned
did-
a lot about interior illumination now. To quote,
Well, you're well interiorly
paraphrase.
illuminated, so I'm going to bring us back tight again so you can see our pretty faces.
Yeah, we tried this last week just with a call, and none of this lighting was set up, and
No,
so I was in the
no.
dark, literally and figuratively.
This is actually, except for my dated valance in back of me, I'm doing okay. But that's a really super dated valance that I have to take care of. And I said the word valance.
Valence,
I'm a,
liberty valence.
so
So
yeah, so
you've been basically homebound
I have been homebound.
since March.
Yeah. So when
So we've been very concerned about you this whole time.
hey, listen, it is what it is. But the one thing is, I've been working. I kept my job. My job has been keeping me very busy. We were out of the office 2 days after St. Patrick's. We were done. In April, we got out of the lease. The whole company that I work for, we got out of the lease, and we said we're all setting up at home. So I took advantage of the time and set up. I had actually, for the podcasting, I had started setting up all this kind of stuff, which was great. But I finished the job and said, okay, well, I'm a large guy with a, it's not an awful heart condition, but it's a heart condition. So I'm just gonna barricade myself in and throw myself into my work and my family. So it's been about working, and it's been about spending time with Nancy and Declan, my wife and son, and taking trips, just day trips in the car, not
Mhm.
leaving the car. We've done that on the weekends pretty much every weekend since this hit. That's been our thing, and it's been kind of fun. I miss playing out. I miss playing music. We just got today. I had a friend of ours, Woody, sent along.
Yep.
Did he
Yeah, I
send that
got
to you as
one.
well,
Yeah.
or did?
Yeah,
So
he sent them separately to us. It didn't
okay,
come in the same. That's why it seemed like we didn't get it, but we both got it.
okay. So he sent us a video of us doing a gig that we did, and it was one of the later gigs that we did at the Rock in Hudson Falls.
Definitely one of the last ones that was done there. But even that now is years ago, multiple years
I
ago.
thought it was an early one because I'm singing
No.
because I'm singing high harmony, and I don't sing high harmony anymore. It was like, holy cow, I'm singing high harmony, and I actually hit it. That was one thing that got me.
Mhm.
Maybe what we'll do it in post here. If I do the post, I'll do it. If not, I'll ask Herb if he's graciously offered to help us out with this. Is I'll slot the video in for a minute or two, and we're doing Country Roads.
All my memories gathered round her. Mine is lady, stranger to blue waters. Dark and dusty, painted on the sky. Missed the taste of moonshine, teardrop in my eye. Country road, take me home to the place where I belong. West Virginia.
John Denver Country Roads, and it actually sounds okay. It's and I miss that.
Yeah,
That's what the whole message was. So I had the video sent to we had the video sent to us, and kind of made me realize that I miss playing out. I play with James. I play with my friend Don. We've had sessions in the summer, in the late spring, early summer. We had garage sessions where we played music.
Some of you may have seen those.
You may have seen them. We streamed them on Facebook. I have a YouTube channel that lets me stream stuff, which is actually kind of unusual. I guess a lot of people have had trouble with YouTube channels, but I have a good YouTube channel, which we will take advantage of that, and we'll throw some more tunes up there as soon as it's viable. I guess I'm waiting for the vaccine. that's my job right now.
You know, luckily, maybe it's not too far away. Although, if to probably be realistic, we're probably looking at March, April at the earliest for guys like you and me. Although the first of Glens Falls staff should be reving it any day now, from what I've heard.
Yeah, we have.
We have
a gig booked. We have one gig. We have the last gig that I played last year, which was on the Saturday before St. Patrick's. We have the Saturday before St. Patrick's that I've committed to.
Yeah.
It may be, fingers crossed on that. Fingers crossed. If it looks like it's a good thing and it'll work health wise, I'll do it. If it's warm enough, we play outside, that would be
great.
That would be
what we're due.
Yeah.
We're so overdue for a nice day.
Yeah.
It's not even funny.
So let's think about the people that we've been missing, and maybe give them a shout out, or just, either by name or by reputation. Who are you thinking?
Well, obviously I'm missing a lot of my bar people, the owners, bartenders, bar managers, waiters, waitresses, and all like that. And that goes hand in hand with not being able to play. But that's in my life, since that's my main income and I spend most of my time in bars. It's also where most of my friends are too.
Mm-hmm.
So even when we have been able to get out, most of the places have either closed or cut back so dramatically it's not even worth really going out. Currently, the bars have to stop serving at 10 o'clock and kick everybody out. So it's weird to hear last call at 9:45 in the evening. We always joke that we would have just been going out. The bands at Sandy's Clam Bar would be starting at about 11:30.
The South Street,
these are very different
start
times. Yeah. And and obviously hanging with you, we've been able to hang. When the weather was good, we could be out in the garage and sort of be safe that way. But the weather now, it's getting cold. So it's gonna be rough. I'm not exactly feeling the holidays. I don't know about you.
I in a new cilantro. I'll have to go grab another pint in a minute. I'm going to get a pint proper. But the holidays have become nuclear for me, in the sense that it's a nuclear family. It's the three of us. We're doing it, and we did great at Thanksgiving. And it's different. It's different. You know what? It's just everyone goes through a period in their life where they know whatever they're going through is going to end. You know what I'm saying? It's going to end, and you just you work your way through it and day to day, and you pull out of it what you can. I mean, there's a ton that I'm thankful for, and there's a ton that I miss. And like we were just talking about, we miss people. I miss like hitting the happy hour up with one of the local bars, and then the flurry of people that we encounter in those situations. I miss all of that, whether I'll use first names and say, whether it's like Nicole and Heather, and it's I'm gonna drop all the names, all the bartender, all the bartenders, all the guy bartenders, all the girl bartenders. There's a piece missing, but I'm looking at it like it's just a relative short amount of time in our lives. We're still fairly young.
Yeah.
Ish.
Yeah.
As long as we can get through it. I feel bad for a lot of people who haven't been able to work as much. as they want to during this time. I'm very fortunate that I've been able to, but I know there are people that haven't been able to, and it makes me, makes me feel badly. We've lost people. I lost my mom this year.
Yeah.
Other people, we've lost other folks, and not been able to celebrate that as like we wanted to celebrate. So there's but there is a certain bittersweet to the whole thing, and like I said, it's helped me and the family. We have a great time. We do things together, and I haven't driven my 16-year-old son Declan nuts, and he hasn't driven me nuts yet, which is
That's more probably the issue. He hasn't driven
although
you nuts
and
yet.
I've
Although
had
you
as
probably
much.
like to needle him a little bit, make him.
Oh, you kidding me? He has the most righteous little funky ass 16-year-old mustache that I've ever seen. So he's hearing about it, and if he's listening right now, he's gonna poke his head in and say something.
Is it the kind where it's just it starts about out here and it goes just to about there, and that's it?
It's a feathery delight. He's right here. He's right here. You're welcome. Hey, Declan, can you? I have a pint of Guinness in the fridge. Can you grab one? Thank you. I appreciate it.
Give it another 15 years and it'll grow in finally.
I know, and another 15 after that, and it'll do what mine's doing. It'll do what mine's doing. Thank you. Is Mom here yet? Okay. Everyone's in on my family life as we do this.
Yeah. You brought up an interesting point. I don't know if you felt it too, and I don't know if it's the quarantine and sort of the isolation, but I don't know if it feels like we've lost more people, more celebrities, or more ones that are in our frame of reference for growing up, or does it just we're just feeling it more than normal? But I was going back through, and some of the names like John Prine, Kenny Rogers. We just lost Charlie Pride, Eddie Van Halen for the rock fans. There were plenty other ones, I'm sure.
Adam Schlesinger,
Sean Connery,
Adam Schlesinger,
yeah.
who wrote one of the greatest movie music tunes ever, and that's That Thing You Do. And I knew Adam. I knew him fairly well. He went to school with my brother Tim, and just an insanely talented guy. And he was one of the first COVID casualties.
Yeah, he was early on.
Yeah, it was in April, I think. So yeah, and you know what? We have a heightened sensitivity for all this. So who we lost, I think a lot of it is a heightened sensitivity, but it was a god awful year for death anyway. So,
well, let's lighten the mood a little bit. Let's get into actual question that your wife posted today on Facebook. Actually,
oh yeah, you guys had a fun time hijacking her post.
It's one that actually Herb has as part of his arsenal of questions in 60 seconds with DW.
Yeah,
and the question is Die Hard a Christmas movie? Your wife Nancy says yes very firmly. I say nay.
You and Andre
me and Andre, because it's set during Christmas doesn't necessarily make it a Christmas movie.
Yeah, then I got thinking, and I didn't have time to engage in all this because I've got shit.
Although I did like the Hans Gruber.
That was good, wasn't it? Ho. Anyway, actually it was, I didn't say it was ho. Yeah, I'll do it again. I thought there might be a meme for it, but there wasn't a meme for it. Anyway, but it's like, what's one of the movies you associate with St. Patrick's? Okay, The Quiet Man. Okay, Quiet Man is associated with St. Patrick. Maureen O'Hara and John Wayne. It has nothing to do with St. Patrick's. There is no movie about St. Patrick's. It just happens to be Irish. So I don't know if that really has a correlation here, but it's like, what movies do you think of? I think of, when I think of Christmas movies, I think of Elf, and I think of A White Christmas or Holiday Inn, or the older movies too, or It's a Wonderful Life. And then you get thinking, is what makes a Christmas movie? Is it the theme of the movie? Celebrate with your family, the love of family, the overcoming loss, that kind of that kind of thing, or is it the birth of Jesus Christ? Is that really what you're talking about, the birth of
Yes.
Jesus Christ? So then you talk about the greatest
Now you're
story ever
getting
told.
religion.
The greatest story ever told is the ultimate Christmas movie. Okay.
Actually, to get very technical, they figured out Christ wasn't even born in December.
Hush.
It was some
Hush.
other time
What?
because of
I
the
know.
calendars are all thrown off. But I
He was
came up
born-
with some ones because I knew Herb and I had been talking about it. Movies that are set during Christmas time. Lethal Weapon 1, the first one, is set during Christmas time.
Okay. Does it count
Trading
as a Christmas?
Places. Yeah, right. Exactly. Does that count as Christmas movie? Trading Places is during Christmas. One that I did not expect, but I found on the internet. Apparently, Eyes Wide Shut.
Oh yeah, Eyes Wide Shut.
during Christmas. That is definitely not a Christmas movie as far as I'm concerned.
How much nakedness was in Eyes Wide Shut? I didn't see the whole
I
thing.
didn't see that one. No.
Okay, all right. It's because the
it was
last thing I need is
more
Tom
than-
Cruise naked right now.
Yeah, I know.
Tom Cruise, that's another story. He's ripping everybody for being COVID unfriendly on the set of the movie. He's doing Mission
really?
Impossible 7. Did you hear about this?
No.
No, and there's a Christian Bale kind style esque audio of him ripping into the crew.
Wow.
For not being, not mask wearing in the most proper way and all that. Then I got to thinking, well, Mr. Scientologist.
Yeah, right.
Is there even, I don't know, I don't even think they're big vaccine people or doctor people
Probably
even.
not. No, probably not.
So
unless they have a network of Scientologist doctors, I'm sure they go within.
That's a whole other story. But anyway, I went off on a Tom Cruise tangent. But the Christmas movie. So is a Christmas movie about the theme of actual Christmas, or is it just something that happens to take place in Christmas? I think ultimately it's what you associate with Christmas on a personal level. Okay, was it Nancy put the research up? 43% thought this, 42% thought this.
Yes,
or it was, and then it was the director thought this, and the star,
star thought something. Else.
Yeah. McTiernan, the director, I pulled that name out of my ass. And he thought it was a Christmas movie, and Bruce Willis didn't. And of course, Bruce Willis, who has subsequently taught us that you can apparently he can't act. I was gonna say we've come to find out that he can't get out of that paper bag with acting. Yes. Okay. Which is weird because there was so he's typecast in one kind of role, but anyway, so I don't know I think if a movie if you associate a movie with Christmas time, that you watch it at Christmas time, then it's a Christmas movie. Okay. So I don't care if it's Deep Throat 2. Okay. if you watch it religiously at Christmas time, then it's a Christmas movie. if you wear a Santa hat while you watch the movie, it's a Christmas movie.
If she's taking the whole candy cane, then that's funny because we were also talking about. I always think of Miracle on 34th Street as a Thanksgiving movie because it starts off with the Macy's Thanksgiving Day Parade. It eventually goes through to Christmas, but I always associate it with the parade and watching it on Thanksgiving Day.
Okay.
So
what does it make
for me?
But Santa Claus is a star of the movie.
Yeah.
So
Santa Claus go either way.
Yeah. No, but good point. But it doesn't work.
Now here I have a question for you. What do you think of what holiday would you more associate with planes, trains, and automobiles?
Thanksgiving. Yeah. Thanksgiving. It's about getting home for Thanksgiving. And honestly, a lot of the movies are about getting home. It's about Catherine O'Hara making her way home to Kevin
Home Alone,
for Home Alone. That's what the movie is about for me. It's as much about the mom struggle and encountering the polka band in the cube truck. Which is
nice John Candy crossover there.
Yes, exactly. That's as much fun for me. That's how that movie has meaning for. So you know, now you're talking, okay, now you're talking about all the shit that I never paid attention to in English class. Is what is the theme of something? What's the theme of this book? What's the theme? I always had trouble with that. I
Yeah.
always had a lot of trouble with the theme, you know. It's like you need to know in life, you need to know 10 to 15 basic themes, you know, unrequited love, mistaken identity, all these, you know, major themes, and then you can apply them to whatever the story is, you know. So the ones about Christmas, Thanksgiving, I associate more with home.
Yeah.
Thanksgiving, I associate more with home. Christmas, I associate more with, I don't know. You want to know? Really, it's prosaic. It's vapid. It's snow and Christmas tree lights and family and presents and a tree. I mean, that's all I need to have a Christmas movie, I guess. Or
Yeah.
unless in the case of Deep Throat 2, it's just one that you happen to watch at Christmas time every year.
Little extra tinsel on the top. There's got to be Christmas porn out there. There must be.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
You gonna go check right now?
I'm checking. I was just gonna see, because we always used to talk about funny porn titles.
Scrooge. Scrooge spelled SCREW.
Okay. Yep. Nope. Don't want to show that.
No.
Nope. Don't want to talk about that one.
You don't have
Okay,
to.
I'm gonna.
Green.
Yeah, we're gonna hold off on the. We're gonna.
Newfound technology. We can now put screenshots up now.
Actually, this has a share screen. I don't have anything ready to share, and I don't have anything that I'm willing to put into my browser or my my search bar to have history of, so to speak. So anyway, so what it's a Christmas movie? It's whatever you personally associate with Christmas. There is no, I don't think, and if this is a life's great question, I do not think that there is an overriding standard or anything associated with it other than it's very subjective. I don't think it's an objective question.
It's hard to. My argument was basically what you were saying. It's got to have the thematic feeling.
Yeah.
You know, not necessarily the day itself, but all the emotions that go with it.
Yeah.
I don't know if there's any other holidays really. There's probably is there a New Year's movie?
Yeah, it's a
Valentine's movie.
Is Born on the 4th of July, an Independence Day movie.
Yeah, right. The only one when you said The Quiet Man and St. Patrick's Day, I did a quick check in my brain, like, are there any St. Patrick's Day movies really?
Are there movies where St. Patrick's Day itself takes center stage?
Yeah.
I can't think of one. So
in the
comment section below, just add your
votes.
Make sure you subscribe.
Holiday movies and what movies they go with which holidays. But there's a movie that I used to watch quite a bit. It's not a bad movie. It's called State of Grace with Sean Penn, and it's set in Boston. It's a South Boston guy comes back to town, and he's actually undercover for the FBI or something. He infiltrates his old neighborhood gang that his brother's still a member of.
Oh, I know the movie.
The big ending scene where everybody gets blown away takes place during the St. Patrick's Day parade in Boston.
There you go. There you go. That's there's one that you can actually say St. Patrick's Day has some bear. It has some.
I'm wearing I've pulled this shirt out. My Tonight I Drink for Ireland shirt.
Is that one of the Celtic Attitudes?
Celtic Attitudes shirt, CelticAttitudes.com.
Pitch.
Our good friend Bill Collins does a number of high quality shirts. The shirt itself is about the best quality t-shirt I've ever, it's heavy. The color has not worn at all. So he uses good stuff there.
Do you want to make love to it?
No, I just want to drink in it.
Okay.
And then there's a story behind it. All of his shirts have a story behind them, a theme. The Tonight I Drink for Ireland came from Bill was at a trade show down outside New York, in near the old Giant Stadium, East Rutherford, New Jersey, at some convention center there, and it was all Irish, wares that could be sold, Belique china and Waterford crystal, and then all the way down to shirts and CDs and all kinds of other stuff. But he said he was staying at a hotel, and there was a guy from Ireland, and one night he apparently he had gone out. Every night he had gone out and gotten drunk, but apparently there was one night that was exceptionally grand, and he woke up the next day feeling extremely hungover and showing it, and said to Bill, "Oh, last night I drank for Ireland," which can be taken a number of ways. His Irish got up, or he was literally drinking for everyone in Ireland.
That's how I read it.
Mhm.
That's how I read it.
One of his famous shirts around here is his one, which features the design of three old Irishmen at the pub, leaning on each other. It's a Kevin McCrell.
It's a Kevin McCrell painting, drawing, yeah.
And it says "Feckin' Wrecked" under it. That's a very popular one. I see that around.
And I have been in that position in a pub in Ireland a handful of times.
Someday,
it's
We all
waiting. It's waiting. We'll do one of these shows from Ireland.
That would be epic. Now we're talking.
Yeah.
I'll do going over to Ireland and playing a little bit, bringing our instruments or arranging instruments for us over there and playing.
Yeah.
That's
more likely that's what it is, because we don't have Norwegian to fly over anymore, which they were very lenient in their instrument in the overhead bins category. They were quite great about it. But Norwegian is gone. I used to fly out of Newburgh, Stewart, the old Stewart Air Force Base, and the flights were cheap. Mm-hmm. You were on a 737 MAX 8 though. just saying.
Which apparently suddenly is okay to fly again.
Apparently okay to fly, but it was cheap.
I don't know what they did, but apparently it's okay to fly them now.
And so getting instruments over there is a lot tougher. We'll have to, half the luggage is going to be electronics for the instruments, and the other half is going to be, a couple pairs of underwear, I guess. And if you're lucky.
I'm sure if we do enough poking around,
we had this idea. We were going to do what we call the break-even tour. Just cover the expenses of getting over there, and then play music in a few spots. And I had some people who were willing to set up a couple of gigs. I mean, in the west of Ireland where we are, they love country music. They love folk. They love John Prine lived in the west coast of Ireland. He lived in Ireland. Yeah, I did not know that. He spent half the year there and half the year in the States. Wow. He had a place over in Ireland, and he would actually go to sessions at pubs. And now the thing is that when you had a session at an Irish pub, it was always traditional Irish music, and it was just fiddle. It was a fiddle and accordion and a bodhrán and a singer, maybe a singer, and a couple of guitars and tin whistles, and it would be very Irish. Now you bring in other instruments, and they actually take breaks from playing as some relatives that I used to call the diddly eye music, which is fun, and the traditional stuff. Yep. They would take breaks and actually do a James Taylor tune, or do a John Prine tune, or do something like that. And then it's very much appreciated. And there's no shunning, and you'll oftentimes find yourself, given a pint for a good performance of that in the session. And the sessions are the music. In a pub, there's usually a corner that's dedicated to, in a lot of the pubs over in Ireland, there's a corner that's dedicated to just music playing. And a lot of pubs don't hire music necessarily. They'll just have these sessions, and local people come in and they play the music. Some pubs are doing a music night. They'll have sessions one night, but then they'll also bring in a hired band, and the hired band will play, stuff from the Waterboys, and they'll play stuff, all the stuff that we play over here too. All the stuff that we play over here.
Are there any bars around here that you think you could pull off a session?
It's tough. Session? It's tough. Back in the old days,
Americans just aren't really. I think they like the idea of it, but put into practice, you know, I can imagine there's just so much noise in American bars. They're not really set up to be intimate the
No,
way it
what
would
the
need to
sessions
be.
were, see, so I have a history with pubs over here too. And just take, for example, the last pub that we had, the last restaurant pub on the lake. And we did some Sunday morning sessions. And it's mostly for anytime we did a session, it was for the musicians. It was for the
Mm,
musicians. We had nothing else scheduled or happening. It would just be a Sunday morning or afternoon thing. It wouldn't be a night thing. Night ones are fun. But over here, it's funny because you know, it's a question of whether you want to pay people to come in and perform and put on a performance and have a proper show, a 3 to 4 hour show. It's not 4 anymore. It's
yeah,
2 to
no,
3 is what it
yeah.
is. 2 to 3 hours, and I'm talking non-COVID times, or as opposed to bringing in a group of people to do some kind of session where it's unpaid. You know, you might give them their beers and all, and you know that if some of the best musicians around here, they need to get some scratch for what they
Mm,
do. You know
yeah.
what I'm saying? They need to get some scratch for the time, you know, and it's totally appreciated.
Well, given the right circumstances and knowing the right type of people that are showing up, you know, I would do that once a week just for the crack, as we would say, just for the fun of it, and for
Yeah, yeah,
um, you know, networking and you know, getting your chops up. And but it would seem to me that you would have to have almost a separate small room
yeah,
just for
yeah,
that,
yeah.
with no food,
And,
you
it's
know.
also it's on amplified. That's the
Yeah,
other thing, and
yeah.
it's not like an
Well,
open
then
mic, which
that's
there's an
like you're
open
fighting against, you know,
there's an
crowd.
open
There has
mic.
to be a
Yeah.
listening audience.
Yes, yes, exactly. I'm sorry to talk over you on that one,
Mhm.
but it's not like an open mic where it's one mic and different performers, and you know the comedian can't exactly have a session with the folk musician. Although actually, that's, you know, that may not be true. Who knows? The comedian may be able to have a session with the folk musician, but when you get right down to it, you got to have, you know, it's an attitude.
Mhm.
It's a Celtic attitude, to be quite precise.
I'd say I don't know if you remember when Skip Smaldone and I were doing the open mic at the Sokol's
Yep,
Tavern.
sure do.
That sort of got almost like the
Oh, that was
feeling of it.
sessiony. That was
It
very
was
sessiony.
very much like a session, just you know,
Everyone
obvious.
had to plug in or use a
Yeah.
microphone. Everyone had to plug in or use a microphone. It wasn't that we were all in the corner. Actually, to tell you, now that I think about it, there's Weckler and Chris Carey do at the end, they do an end of the bar thing. They have done have
The
the
Inn at
again,
Saratoga.
yeah, have done
Okay.
pre-COVID time. They actually would do, Tim and Chris would do a thing where they're just sitting with their beers at the end of the bar and play for the bar.
Mhm.
And you know, if we happen to wander in, I'm sure they would have said, "Sure, come on, sit and play with us," you know.
Yeah.
But that's the closest that I think, other than the Sokol's, the Sokol's open mic that you guys did, where at one point I remember sitting up there and there were probably 10 of us, you know, 10 of us playing there, which
It
was really
almost
cool.
got out of control. It
Yeah,
got
yeah,
so popular with other musicians because
yeah,
everybody wanted to play.
yeah.
You know, these are all combinations of guys who know each other and
And
maybe have played
there's a
once or twice together, but not regularly.
there's a secret to all this, and that is that the musicians that want to do it and they want to be there and they don't care whether they're paid for it, they just
Mhm.
want to be a part of the music. That's so appealing to a lot of people. It's appealing to a certain crowd that's willing to go and just be part of the atmosphere in a bar, to be a part of that, you know, to be witness to that. That's you know, it's not and who knows what's going to happen after all this, whether whether that's going to come back, or it's going to come roaring back, or it's going to not come back, whether it's that, you know, or whether it's going to be shows that are paid shows and audience and applauding after each song. And I don't know what's going to happen, but there
Yeah.
is still an appeal to a lot of people who enjoy live music to be in an atmosphere, just to be in the atmosphere, just to be a part of that atmosphere where there's good music happening, and you know, no one's necessarily getting paid for this. It's just musicians working off each other like they can do.
Yeah.
So
I think for me, the only reason necessarily to get paid is if I'm providing the sound equipment, if I'm lugging a certain amount equipment around, I at least want something, either a little bit of cash or a voucher or something like that from the
Well, you
place.
make a living doing this.
Yeah.
Is your living. This is your
Yeah.
living. So it's actually precluded you from being part in a lot of instances of some of these occasions that we've had, just because you have to be out there working and making money doing it. That's and like I've always said, and I'm not the originator of this, but when you play a gig, I'm not getting paid. You don't pay me to play the music. I love playing the music. You pay me to bring my equipment in and take it out. Is what you pay me for. So
a lot of people feel that way, actually. It's either a very well-worn truism for musicians, or I've just heard it so many times.
Yeah, but the funny thing is, you get paid the same amount today that they got paid 35, 40 years ago for the same deal.
Maybe even longer at this point.
And I'm not meaning in inflation dollars. I'm meaning in actual dollars.
Actual dollar amount. Because the first person who told me that, I think, was Phil Camp. And at the time he said it to me, he said it was 30 years ago. And that was probably 10 years ago when he told me that. So it may be more like 40
so think
plus
about it. You're playing 1979, 1980, you're playing out and you're getting paid $100, which is like $220 now.
Yeah.
Just for, you played, but then again, you also played 4 hours. You played from 10 to 2 or 11 to 3.
Or 11 to 3, yeah.
And you had to deal with drunks more than even, nowadays. You had to deal with people who were, and people that would come up and grab your microphone, and people that would say, "Hey, I play guitar. I play guitar."
Yeah, or my favorite people.
Or the ones while you're playing would come up and that make that request while you're playing.
It's never anybody you want, never anybody you want to be like, oh, let me just sort of play this along and let me flirt a little bit. And no, it's always just, nope, sorry, get out. Nope. It's like scraping dog shit off your shoe.
And that's too bad. It's too bad.
Juggling at the same time.
Because don't anyone get us wrong. If it weren't for the people coming out and listening, we would not have jobs for music. We would not have it. So it's appreciated. And there's always been a level of tolerance for that. And there's so many that deal with it so well. So many musicians that deal with that kind of thing so well. And it's, it's a function of alcohol, and it's a function of, you have so many different kinds of people that are coming out to bars. Even if it's not the alcohol, it's just someone's personality. And so in a lot of ways, you have to come up with the best. You have to come up with the best methodology to deal with it. And
and that never works on drunk people. I know. You can have the
most. You mean logic? You mean logic?
Yeah, you could say something like, when you go to the circus, you don't go up to the lion tamer and say, "Hey, I got a couple cats at home. Can I give it a try?"
But if the circus was a drinking experience,
right? Exactly. If everybody was drunk, yeah, sure. They'd probably let them go right in too. Hey, just sign this waiver and go ahead and have at it. Lions haven't been fed yet, anyway.
All right. So hey, let me throw it back at you. So what else sucked about 2020?
What else sucked? It's just it's all about a disruption in daily life. It seems like everything seems to come back to either or not being able to go out, not being able to interact with people. I'm sure there's more to that. I mean, obviously, the financial hit for some people has been pretty hard. We've been pretty lucky. I mean, yeah, we've got a good support network of family, but we also managed to apply and receive not regular unemployment, but pandemic unemployment assistance. But we are now waiting for the next stimulus package to come along if Mitch McConnell would get his finger out of his ass.
Yeah, actually, they're talking. It's coming. They're gonna have it. It looks like what they've agreed upon is halving it. But it'll be something at least. And But what I'm just thinking is, I mean, all this, it didn't necessarily make up for it, and I think about bar owners that lost a shit ton of money, and
A
restaurant
lot,
owners that
lot of
lost.
businesses went under, and more are still going under.
And a lot of it in there, and I've heard arguments on all sides, and it's like, when my whole point about all this is when you're in any kind of time that's not, it's not a pandemic time, there are businesses that are struggling to keep going, and there are businesses that come up and flame out, and there are businesses that never quite make it, and whatever. So what you want is, you want that level playing field, and you can't have a pandemic, if possible. You can't have a pandemic be the thing that puts you under. That's kind of my feeling, that it so if there are subsidies to be had, if there are opportunities for low interest loans or no interest loans, or just whatever it happens to be, to keep you afloat, and then once it's over, if it's over, then you're on your own again.
Yeah.
Then you're on your own again. And if you were good enough to make it, you'll make it. And if you weren't good enough to make it, you're not going to make it. So there's a certain amount of commercial Darwinism at play too.
Yeah, but
I don't think a pandemic. Sorry.
There's big picture too. I mean, obviously, you got the people who say, well, I've got mine, I don't want to give out to somebody who's not as deserving. But I mean, when you think about it, if the more businesses do well, the more people who are employed, the more money gets kicked back into the system.
Yeah.
And that's really what should be a circular
Yes.
model of how the money flows.
But
and if you take businesses away, or you take the money out of the people's hands so they can't spend it on anything, everything goes to hell. So, it should be in everybody's best interest for the government to say, okay, we got to find out where we can take money from that isn't absolutely necessary right now, and put it towards all of these things to make sure society keeps going.
They're just printing money right now.
Yeah,
they're just printing money.
Essentially, yeah.
We're gonna have to pay the piper at some point, okay? But they're just printing money, and it hasn't been devalued yet. And we're still supported by low interest rates. Blah blah blah. All this economic theory, but is it a case of the ones that weren't? There's still people who are poor business people.
Yeah.
Okay. My only contention is don't penalize them for the pandemic, but after the pandemic is done, I don't want anyone making money off of PPP payments or anything like that. I don't know how well that was administered. I haven't really, I don't have enough insight on it, but I know that there were certainly there are enough stories out there of people who probably didn't deserve that money that got that money.
Yeah.
But in a sense, in every sense, yes, I did. 4.4 million.
Yeah.
In every sense, for a level playing field, I think local. Here's my interest. It's local bars and local restaurants. There's my interest. Take care of them. Please take care of them. Get them so that they can at least keep the doors, if not open, they don't have to close permanently. Yeah, maybe they'll have to shut down. And the thing is, I guess for PPP, you could shut down. So there are places that probably could have done well just saying, okay, I got to shut down for the winter anyway. And we know some people that are doing that. I'm thinking of Bill Carson in particular, that are shutting down for the winter to reduce the expenses. But when you get right down to it, is it worth it to when they come out of it, are they going to have the wherewithal to sustain and keep going? I don't know.
That's where we'll find out. And I don't think I'm speaking out of turn, but Jose, our friend who owns Lake George Beach Club, he had said to me point blank, this is back in October, when they were first starting to talk about the next round of stimulus, which is the one they're talking about now, 2 months plus later. Well, 2 months later.
Yeah.
He had said to me, if it goes through and there is, the PPP, then he would have stayed open. But when
Okay.
it didn't come through in time, he said, I got no other choice than
Yeah.
to shut down at least for the winter and take it month by month.
Yeah.
So that's an actual example of, the difference between being open and having to shut down. Luckily, he has enough a business sense and a support network within his group of people that he knows he's going to come back, and he knows that at the end of the tunnel it's going to be good. And I almost wonder, I was thinking about this last night, interested to get your input on it. When things start to open up again, when we are to the point where there are no restrictions other than suggested mask wearing, no regulations, just, hey, let's learn something from this, and not hassle somebody who wants to wear a mask. Are we gonna, and you mentioned this a little bit, are we gonna come back the way we were before? Are we gonna change anything about the way we go out and what we do when we go out? Or is it gonna be like, prohibition's over and everybody just goes nuts and goes back to as if nothing happened? And I'm almost feeling like, from my perspective, it might be the latter. I'm sensing a whole lot of people who are just gonna be like, all right, that's it, we're done, back to, leaning all over each other, spitting in each other's faces while we're, having a conversation. And, so
the American way is fierce independence, and it's fierce. We lean toward, this is who we are, man. This is who we are. We're going to go overboard. We're just going to do that. If, as much as people say things are never going to be the same again, things aren't going to change. You're going to see a lot more mask wearing. Even after all this, there's still going to be a lot more mask wearing, a lot more sensitivity to distancing, less hugging and all this. And logically, you say, yeah, it's probably the way it should be for at least a good while, beyond this, for a couple of years or a few years or however long. But it's not. That's not who we are. We're not this. We're all or nothing, man. We don't make accommodations the way that some other cultures do. We don't make those accommodations.
We have very short attention, or very short memories for things that we don't like.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
And it's funny because now I was thinking about going into airports, a few years ago, and anytime I'd see somebody with a mask, it was usually an Asian person. And that's, I didn't put it together.
It was the outlier. Yeah.
It was SARS. It was bird flu. It was H1N1. They had all been more affected by those than we were. And so that it just became part of, maybe they only wore it when they were traveling, but they did, and there was nobody telling them they had to, but it was something that they had learned and put into practice. And maybe I could see that, like on a plane where you're feeling very, very, very claustrophobic about people being right in your space, people that you don't know, maybe then having something,
I have no problem with it,
or a handkerchief that you could put on.
I have no problem with it. If I'm on a plane, and there's stories about how planes are actually, because of the air circulation, are actually quite good, and the numbers are low, blah 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 blah, whatever it happens to be. But I mean, if it's determined that the safest thing to do on a plane after all this, even for flu and for common cold and for all this, is, hey, you're not going to have a cold when you land in Jamaica. You're not going to have a cold when you land. You're going to have the flu when you land in Phoenix, because everybody wore a mask. Okay. And the thing is, everybody's got to do it, or else you don't. Okay. Everybody's got to do it. I can't. What do you feel like when you're in a mask situation? You're masked and the other person isn't nowadays. Okay. What good is that really doing? I mean, it's not doing a lot, because that person is throwing droplets out there that mask may not be able to filter properly, or aerosolized stuff. So it only works if everyone's masked up. So, that's why I always wondered, when it was a case of, I saw people when I was traveling, people would have masks on, but the rest of us didn't. I don't know what exactly was happening there, if it was actually having a benefit or not for them. It may or may not.
I wonder how it was, how they were educated, how mask use was, because we've been told from Dr. Fauci and others that having the mask doesn't necessarily protect you, it protects others more. And in order for you to be protected, they have to wear a mask too. So it's very much, it's different. It's not you're protecting yourself by wearing a mask. It's you're protecting everybody else, and that asshole who refuses to wear a mask doesn't give a shit about you. So now you're angry at that person.
Yep.
It's
Yep.
very, it sets
Yep.
up a very confrontational dynamic.
And then you start thinking, oh, I've got the mask on, they don't. I'm going to stay away, but jeepers creepers, if they coughed and there's a droplet in the air, next thing you know, it's in the corner of my eye and I'm screwed, because the eyes are one of the things that apparently. So yes, we're going to be thinking about this. I don't know what's going to, I think we're going to party as soon as we can party.
Oh yeah.
That's what I, if we do that and this becomes a flu thing, a seasonal flu kind of thing, and people die from the flu, and now people are going to catch COVID and die from COVID, but not in the numbers right now, but in some kind of future numbers, they're going to be low. Is it going to be acceptable? So we're going to revert to our freedoms. We're going to revert to our independence. We're going to revert to doing what we want to do. I'm a hugger. You're not a hugger necessarily. I'm hurt a little more by all this because I do that. Is it going to make it, 2 years from now, am I going to have changed and be more like, be the more non-hugger kind of guy, or the unapproachable?
Unapproachable. That's mine.
Throw back to a earlier podcast.
I just think we're stupid. Americans in general are stupid.
We are, but we're also,
that we know aren't good for us.
No, but we have a spark. We have a spark that nobody else.
Atmosphere.
We have a spark that nobody else has. I think we have a spark. We have a difference. We have an attitude. We've got some balls, man, and for better or worse, it works out in some situations. It works out really to our benefit. In others, it doesn't. And and we're not going to be part of the global culture immediately. 71 million people are still saying no, not really into the whole global. 74 million are not into the global culture. They not into global. Not ready to be a part of the global community yet. Versus the 81 that say, yeah, maybe we're going to move in that direction. Does that mean a culture shift? Yeah, it may mean a culture shift. I don't know. I'm as curious to watch it play out as anything,
I am too. In my entire life, I never thought, did you ever think learning about, the Great Depression in school, or hearing the stories of somebody's, either your own relative or somebody else's relatives who lived through those, the Great Depression, polio, all of those things. Did you ever for once really grasp what they must have been going through and think there's a chance I might have to go through something like that? I never would have guessed in a million years
we are
anything like that, and we are right in the middle.
We're doing it it in the way that the 21st century Americans are doing it. We are going through this right now. It's like
and we're those people, as where there is so many disbelieving assholes as there are now, that I'm wondering about during the Great Depression and polio and the Spanish flu.
Just to let you know, America First didn't originate in our generation. America First goes way back, So I mean, just to give you an idea there.
But the whole I'm not going to do it. I don't like you. You can't make me. I think we have rose-colored glasses towards the greatest generation and beforehand, that we were all civil.
Yeah, compassion and civility. Compassion and civility is what it boils down to.
These are the same people, generations before, who went through, wiping out the Native Americans, things like that, and so much for ever apologizing to them.
On a related note, can we call them the Cleveland Native Americans?
I wonder what they're going to go to.
The Cleveland. I'm going for Cleveland Spiders, by the way, because that's what they were back in the 1800s. In the late 1800s, they were called the Cleveland Spiders. for, and I said, there are a lot of people that probably would have a problem with that. And I asked Nancy, my wife, I said, what do you think about Cleveland spiders? She said, that's actually kind of funky and fun. So they should call themselves that, as opposed to the Cleveland Baseball Club.
The Cleveland.
Yeah, because Washington,
that
the
was a
the Redskins did that as a big fuck you to everybody.
Yeah.
Okay, we're just well, screw you all. We're just gonna call ourselves the Washington Football Club and put our numbers on our helmets.
Yeah.
On our helmets. That
anybody who thinks that was a good idea is an idiot, as far as I'm concerned. And I know a couple Redskins fans who I said, you know what, this is your chance. This is your chance to jump off that wagon. Even when it was on fire at the beginning of the season, forget what the last 4 weeks have been.
All I know is that when they finally do decide on a name, they can actually have a 2-syllable name, so that "Hail to the Redskins" can be sung. Okay, I've got friends that are spinning in the grave right now because they can't sing it. They the tune doesn't exist anymore, and they don't exist anymore. But but the idea that you can't sing "Hail to the Redskins," you can sing "Hail" to some 2-syllable word that they come up with. Yeah,
there's got to be something. I mean, you got the Senators. Maybe I don't know enough about the Washington region, the greater Washington region, to know what they think they're known for other than government.
Yeah, I'm not getting much of anything.
Even, what was funny is, like, Baltimore seemed like a huge stretch for anybody who didn't get the Edgar Allan Poe reference.
For the Ravens. Yeah.
I remember when that first came out, I was like, what? And I was like, oh, okay. And I was like, wow, that's an interesting choice to go with Edgar Allan Poe. Of all the other people who maybe have lived or been around Baltimore, you went with Edgar Allan Poe. That's interesting.
I think that's great, though. I think it's.
I love it.
Yeah. So now you got me thinking about with Cleveland. There's a small group of people that are they suggested Cleveland Rocks, the Cleveland Rocks, as in Cleveland Rocks and the Rock Hall of Fame, Rock and Roll Hall of Fame.
I was just thinking that the Rockers or something like that.
But I was trying to think if they. All right, so now we think of who's a favorite poet from Cleveland.
Yeah. There actually, I think there are some famous writers.
Favorite sons Cleveland that have done. Okay, all right. Well,
I'm thinking more like novelists or something like that. But
all right,
the Flaming Rivers, something like that.
On that note, as we cross the 1 hour and 1 minute mark, let's
should we put the break here, and this will be episode the startup episode of
it's all I'm just calling. Yeah, this is LGQ Redux. So we'll figure it out. But it was kind of fun. Yeah. We'll get back into this. We'll get back into this, and we'll have actual topics other than just
this was kind of a what the hell. Well, let's throw it against the wall and see what happens. Literally.
Let me hear how it sounds after I end the broadcast and listen and watch. And if there's some stuff I can throw in, or Herb, then we'll do that. But if this is broadcasting to anyone through Facebook or YouTube in the next couple of weeks, probably shortly after the new year, just rest assured that we're not going to stop experimenting and trying to make this work. So
someday we'll get back into a studio situation again. I think this is the most comfortable I've been on a remote system since.
It helps having the right kind of equipment, though, doesn't it?
It absolutely does. Okay. And maybe we'll get to the point where we'll start doing it live and being able to take live in-person comments and respond to comments and questions maybe at some point.
From all 7 people who choose to listen to us.
Hey, we love those 7 people.
Yes, we do.
And again, it's Life's Great Questions. Check us out on Facebook. Like us on Facebook. If you have any suggestions for topics that we can cover, you can send it to Life's Great Questions. Shit, I'm going to fuck this up. Life's Great Questions podcast